The NHL is back in the Olympics. I was pretty surprised by this because, I haven't really been following the story that closely until now because it's official, but I just figured it would never happen again in my lifetime and that the NHL was done being in the Olympics because Gary Bettman's money hungry and, I don't know. I just, all that corporate crap, but I was very happy to see Elliotte Friedman tweet out that the NHL is returning to the Olympics after being absent for the past 2 Olympic Games, Winter Olympic Games, that is. Now, this is a Pittsburgh Penguins channel, so, while this is more of an NHL-wide news type thing, I want to, digest this specifically to the Penguins and who could potentially, be at the Olympics next year that are former Penguins or Penguins themselves, because I included some former Penguins here. Now, I have a lot of names on the board. I'm not saying that everyone here makes it. I'm just saying these could be potential names because we don't know. We really don't know. There's, a couple names on here that are absolute locks, but injuries can happen. There's a thing going on right now in the world that's been going on for 2 years now that is, 3 years now, if you want to consider, December of 2019, that could affect this as well. You never know, and players could come out of nowhere too. So it's hard to predict the rosters right now, but these are potential names that I could see coming to the Olympics that are from the Penguins or have been part of the Penguins organization. There are 3 groups. They're officially announced in the Group A, Group B, and Group C. Each team has 4 teams, so 12 total countries will be taking part in this. Division A will be Canada, the United States, China, and Germany. B will be Switzerland, Denmark, Russia, or the ROC, I will be saying Russia, and the Czech Republic. And then for Group C, Finland and Sweden, Latvia, and then Slovakia. So and I'm very excited for the Olympics because it's been, a long time coming. Now, let me know in the comment sections below who you'll be rooting for. This is like a sort of a taboo thing that I've always, been picked on in my life for, and is that I don't root for the United States in men's ice hockey Olympics because I can't. In 2014, the last time that, the NHL was at the Olympics, they had TJ Oshie, Brandon Dubinsky, I believe, Ryan Kessler, guys like that on the team. And there's even a chance that Tom Wilson could make Team USA for 2022 versus Sidney Crosby on Team Canada and Chris Kunitz on Team Canada back then. I know it's, taboo to not root for your home country, but man, I really don't care. What does it matter? I don't really think it matters that much. Exile me from the United States. Actually, please do that. But so just to, clarify, if any of you care, I will be rooting for Team Canada because I'm a Sidney Crosby diehard and I really do not care. It'll depend on who the rosters are, but if you want me to root for, Austin Matthews and TJ Oshie and Tom Wilson over Sidney Crosby, I'm going to pick Sidney Crosby. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with, how patriotic I am. So I'm wearing a Captain America t-shirt right now. So whatever. So on the board, as I mentioned, are potential names. I'm going to erase them based on, who I think makes it. But for Team Canada, it's going to be very tough to make this roster because Team Canada is likely going to win gold. McDavid, Crosby, and McKinnon will be on this team. Marc-Andre Fleury, we'll start from the bottom up, former, Penguins. Marc-Andre Fleury should make it. I really don't see, who else could potentially make it. Are they going to pick Carey Price? I mean, Montreal didn't even want him in the expansion protection list. Who does Canada pick for their goaltenders? I think Fleury is one of them, though. Despite his age, I think he still has it, and I think we'll see Fleury there. Now, some of you may be joking, wondering what the hell is Jeff Carter doing on the board. Jeff Carter's made Team Canada before in the past, and from the way that he's been playing with the Penguins, there could be a slight possibility that he could make Team Canada, but I don't see it. With injuries, maybe. With, some circumstances, maybe. I think he has about a 5% chance at making Team Canada, and maybe that's even generous, but I don't think he makes Team Canada. Again, though, he has made it in the past, and he's a gold medalist, so maybe, there's that history for him. And then as for Kris Letang, this is a tough one. I think Kris Letang deserves to make it, but I don't see how he would fit in the lineup. You look at Team Canada's projected defensive pairings, and if he makes the team, then that's great. He will not make the top 6 then. So even if he does, I don't think he'll play. I think he's too old, and I think there's better players. Cale Makar is going to be on this team, for Christ's sake. Like, come on. So I don't think Letang makes it. However, I think we all know that Sidney Crosby will make Team Canada, and he will be their captain. There was a Tim Hortons, tweet the other day, and Crosby was wearing a Team Canada captain. The captain is not necessarily your best player, even though I still think Crosby's better than McDavid. McDavid does not deserve the captaincy, in my opinion, and that's no, disregard to what he's been doing in Edmonton and things like that, even though he hasn't made it past the second round of the playoffs. But Crosby's the leader on this team, and I don't think you don't give him the captaincy, okay? Even if he's not the best player in the world anymore, you still give him the captaincy. So I have Crosby and Fleury making it for Canada. There could be others, but right now it's Crosby and Fleury. Now, there's a lot of names under Team USA. One of them has already been confirmed. Actually, a couple of them have already been confirmed. I didn't write them all. Bill Guerin, former player for the Penguins and assistant general manager for the Penguins, will be involved. The Penguins video coach is also involved. I forget his name. And then Todd Reardon and Mike Sullivan will be coaching. Mike Sullivan will be the head coach of Team USA. So even if this decision was a no yesterday from the NHL, the Penguins would still have one rep, and that was Mike Sullivan, who will be coaching Team USA. Now, does Mike Sullivan coaching get some more Penguins players in? Leave a comment down below if you think that's so, because I think Jake Guentzel makes this roster, okay? I think that's confirmed, mostly. I think he has an 85% chance making it. Does Bryan Rust make this team? Does John Marino make this team? Does Brian Dumoulin make this team? How much of a say does Mike Sullivan have in that? But realistically speaking, again, if you look at the projected lineup for Team USA, while not as good as Canada in my opinion, they're still amazing. And you have a lot of players there that are just simply better than Rust and Dumoulin. And I even threw Zucker on here. If he has a bounce back season, you never know. I wrote over here, in 2014 and at the World Cup of Hockey, Jack Johnson made Team USA. Jack Johnson. Okay? Anything can happen here, okay? Paul Martin was an Olympian. Not to say that he wasn't worthy of it, but still, maybe there is a case for Dumoulin here. However, I'm going to be realistic here, and I'm going to take Dumoulin and Zucker off the board. I don't know about Marino, though, because if he has a bounce-back year and becomes, even more of what he was in his freshman year, Sullivan might want him. But realistically speaking, I'm also going to take him off the board as well. I think Rust has the best chance out of them to make the roster. But again, similar to what with Letang, if he makes the team, I don't think he plays. And I don't think Bryan Rust is good enough. Maybe we have a Chris Kunitz situation on our hands, but the idea with Chris Kunitz was that he got to play with Sidney Crosby, so that would make him even better, and it did, and they won gold. But for Rust, if you put him with Guentzel, is that the same type of thing, or do they need a center like Crosby, which you can't have because he's on Team Canada? So is it going to be Matthews, Rust, Guentzel? No. I think Rust is not making Team USA, even though I think he should. And there's one name here at the bottom who's sitting around his house right now thinking he should be doing something important, but he can't really put a finger on it, and that's Phil Kessel, who I would love to make Team USA, but it's not going to happen. Kessel he's too old, and he hasn't really been putting up the numbers in Arizona. Simple as that. I don't see it happening. So we had a big list of names there. Potentially, maybe. There's a lot of them there that have a slim chance. But none of them have a good chance except for Guentzel and Sullivan and Reardon and all them, which are confirmed. So moving on, I think Finland, both of these names are confirmed. in terms of projecting the rosters, Kapanen will probably make Team Finland unless he's injured. Is the only reason I don't think he would not make it. And then Olli Maatta. He's, he hasn't been terrible with the Kings, and now he's with the Blackhawks, and then he got moved again. Did he get moved again? Where's Olli Maatta? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll probably Google it right after I'm done recording. But anyways, I think Maatta makes it. Sweden. Does Marcus Pettersson make it? Now, Sweden has a lot of good defenders that have just made the NHL in general, but Erik Karlsson's not that good anymore, and he's hurt a lot. He's still dealing with all that injuries, and his career's kind of pretty much, going downhill now. And another name that I see that's like, oh, he's definitely going to make it is Oliver Ekman Larson. Guys, Matthew, AZ Sports Guy, if you're watching, please let them know that Oliver Ekman Larson is not the same player that he was 2-3 years ago. He's terrible now. And I don't think he makes Team Sweden. So does that leave a spot open for another young defender to come in? Is it Marcus Pettersson? Is it Rasmus Andersson? Who is it? Who comes in? I don't know about this one. I'm going to take Pettersson off the board here, but don't be surprised if he sneaks his way in. And then you have two former Penguins on the Cup run years, forwards as well, and Hagelin and Hornqvist. The only person I could see here is Hornqvist, kind of as like a nitty-gritty fourth-liner type role. I don't know why, I know why, but the first thing I thought of with Hornqvist is to be like, oh, well, that's a lot of cap space. Cap space does not apply in the Olympics, so Hornqvist can play on the fourth line and be completely fine there. So I think Sweden could take him. As for Hagelin, I think he's too washed up, he's too old, and they'll go with someone younger. Evgeni Malkin's making Team Russia. He's probably going to be their first-line center. There's no questions about it. This will be his and Ovechkin's probably last ride at the Olympics to try and win gold. And then Teddy Blueger will likely not only be on Team Latvia, but will likely be their captain, which is awesome. And if Canada or the United States somehow gets upset, I'm rooting for Latvia. Germany. There's no current Penguins that will be on the German roster, but the Penguins have had a lot of Germans recently in their history. Thomas Greiss, Tom Kuhnhackl, and then Dominik Kahun, and then even Christian Ehrhoff, who I don't think makes it, but they will all likely make Team Germany, and it'll be cool to see them as former Penguins in the Olympics. Czech Republic. There's a couple names here. I think Dominik Simon and Radim Zohorna have a good shot at making it as like a depth forward. The Czechs are very top-heavy, and they don't have a lot of good complementary wingers. If Zohorna can provide some good offense and be an NHL player for the Penguins this year, I think that books a spot for him for the Czechs. Don't think they'll play that much. I think they'll be fringe players, but Simon and Zohorna could definitely play for Team Czech Republic. And then Jaromir Jagr, who, again, may seem like a joke to you. Do not be surprised, though, when Jaromir Jagr comes back. Do not. Seriously, I could see him being the captain of this team, and I could see him. He's Jaromir Jagr. And then China, Switzerland, Denmark, and Slovakia. I couldn't think of any names or find any names that were former Penguins, and then there's nobody on the current roster that is from those nationalities. So that is kind of my prediction for who makes it to the 2022 Olympics for the Penguins. But I wanted to add a little, tidbit of a news type thing to this video as well, because the Penguins made 3 signings this past couple of weeks. None of them really big enough to make their own video off of. The Penguins have signed Louis Domingue, Brian Boyle, and Matt Bartowski to a professional tryout, and a contract, respectively. Domingue, 1 year, a league minimum deal. He will be the Penguins' third goaltender. This is not what we expected in terms of what the Penguins would do with goaltending this offseason, because the only things they did was sign a college free agent, Domingue, and get a new goaltending coach. Is that enough? Let me know in the comment section down below. Domingue's a 29-year-old goaltender. He will be the third goaltender. There's no way he takes DeSmith's place. But injuries could happen. Domingue could get in the lineup. Last 2 seasons, he's only played 2 games with Vancouver and Calgary, so I don't know. He has played for some good teams in the past, though. He did a brief stint in Tampa there, so, and then he was traded because they brought in Curtis McElhaney, if I remember correctly. And then Brian Boyle, which I was surprised. I thought Brian Boyle was, 1, retired, and 2, Nothing that the Penguins would ever do. Brian Boyle is 6'6". Brian Burke likes that. He's 36 though. He's old, and is this enough? This is a professional tryout though. The Penguins have not officially signed him though. This is like a Matt Cullen type scenario. The Penguins a couple of years back, remember, they signed Sergei Gonchar to a professional tryout. Do you guys remember that? So Boyle, there's no risk here. This screams Malkin is out for a good significant amount of time. Will you be our fourth line center until he comes back? This is kind of a bandage work signing, even though it's not official. I don't know if I like it though, because I feel like you should trust the youth, because a fourth line center position is nothing, crazy. I would like to see Zohorna there, even Jordy Bellerive there, maybe potentially, but I get that the Penguins don't have the best prospects in the world. Go check out my prospect pyramid, which I did the other day. And then Matt Bartowski, who I had never heard before. He's 33 years old. He's a defenseman. He spent the past couple of seasons in Minnesota. He only played one game last year, so we got 1 game last year, 0 games last year, 1 game last year. So interesting. And Bartowski, most notable thing that I found from him is that he's from Pittsburgh. So we didn't get John Gibson. We didn't get Vincent Trocheck or Brendan Saad. Does Matt Bartowski satisfy your guys' needs? Let me know in the comment section below. But that'll wrap it up for this one. Let me know your thoughts on the Olympics and your thoughts on what the Penguins did with these signings. Does Boyle or Bartowski make the team? I think Boyle will make it in the aspect that he'll get signed to a league minimum deal. Malkin will come back and I won't ever see him again. Similar to Yannick Weber last year. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.